My brother was the one person I felt like I couldn't afford to lose. When it comes to death, there usually seems to be a natural order to things. When it doesn't go in that natural order, it just feels wrong. Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Out Cold Ox Show. My name is Michael, I am the Ox. This episode is going to be mainly about my brother Mark, pre-crash, and the time that I wish I could have spent with him. Growing up, my brother was often my responsibility. We were 5 years apart. You would think that that would be quite the age difference and there'd be quite a difference in what we did, but my brother was with me all the time, no matter what I was doing. We pretty much did everything together. We played hockey together on the outdoor rink. We learned to skateboard together. We played video games, watched movies, picked up girls together. That's actually a funny story. In the summer times, my cousins and I used to send my brother in first as kind of the icebreaker, I guess. And he would do it just to be part of it all and just prove that he was older than he really was. Honestly, he probably grew up a lot faster than he should have. There was a lot of times when we were younger, when I was tough on him. Whenever we did something competitive, I didn't take it easy on him. In my mind, it was just to make him tougher and make it so that he would kind of understand that the world is kind of tough. You have to understand, for me, a lot of my younger years, especially my early teens, life was kind of difficult for me. There was a few years where I didn't have any friends at all. My brother was my only friend for about 3 years. You could say that we were very, very close. As I said, we did everything together, literally, like everything. He was always with me, always at my side, and always my responsibility to look after. And that continued right up until I graduated high school. So after I graduated, we still hung out here and there. He would come visit me and stay at my place, either in Regina or Saskatoon, and we still hung out during the summer times, and we were still very, very close. Once I turned 19 and alcohol was kind of introduced into my life, that became less and less. That was also around the time when my brother, he was about the age of 15, started playing more and more competitive hockey. First off, he moved to Tisdale to play, so I didn't see him as much. And then after that, Mark went to Estevan, played there for 3 years, and then he went to York University in Toronto and played there for 5 years. And during that period of time, my alcoholism really spun out of control. You probably know the story because you've watched my other video about my life, and if you haven't, you can check it out right here. During that time, we really started to grow apart. We rarely saw each other, just maybe 1 or 2 times throughout the year, usually at Christmas. Christmas was a big deal around our place. Christmas was always Mark's time. He loved it, just everything to do with it. He was very festive in that way. Everything from decorating to like Christmas cookie baking, games. He loved his games. Everyone had to be there for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. You could kind of say that Mark was the glue that held our family all together. Christmas hasn't been the same since, I guess. Anyway, getting back to Mark and him developing kind of his own life, you know. Mark was doing great things, just incredible, really. I'd like to take a little responsibility for that with how tough I was on him and how much I involved him with everything I did growing up. But honestly, it's just, that's Mark's Mark, and He's got some incredible qualities about him. So like I was saying, Mark kind of had his own thing going on, and he and I kind of grew apart. We didn't really have a relationship going on. He really became his own man and didn't need a big brother looking out for him anymore, which was good. You know, that's the way things are supposed to go. Mark was so loved by people. He developed such personable skills. He could pretty much walk into any room and was immediately liked and part of the group. And he always made people feel important when he was talking to you. I mean, myself included, really. Throughout those years, I know there was times when my brother didn't even like me, but he always treated me as an equal, not as a drunk, alcoholic, or somebody who was ill. He never ever made me feel that way. He always made me feel important. He was kind and he had a good heart. The reasoning behind us growing apart, there were a few things at play there. There was distance, each of us having independence, having our own lives, doing our own things. But a big part of it, I believe, was me choosing alcohol over spending time with him. And it wasn't just him, it was all my family, immediate and extended. It wasn't like I didn't want to, but I was so wrapped up in my own BS and guilt and shame that I didn't like myself. So I was of the impression that I was letting everyone down and didn't think anyone would want me around anyway. Anyway, moving forward in this story, I believe it was 2016 when my brother came back from York University. He had convocated with his kinesiology degree, and he was now living back in Saskatchewan. So this was an opportunity for us to spend time together again. At this point, I was actually going to nursing school. Speaking of nursing school, let's just call this a strange little ad lib here. I can't remember which class it was, but we were practicing kind of, I believe it was interview skills and dealing with patients who were kind of distressed, let's say. And so we were role playing. One of the girls from my class was the nurse and I was the patient. But the only thing that I could think of was somebody who lost someone who was completely depressed and sad. And the person who came to mind was my brother. And that's because, as I said before, my brother was the only person I felt I could not handle losing. But yeah, we did the role play, and one of the other girls in class was taken aback by how convincing I was, because she actually asked me if I had lost my brother, and at 2016 I hadn't. She said it really affected her because her brother had been in an accident, and she could really relate to the fear of losing him. Point of that story is, I guess, just be careful what you put out into the universe. Not to say that that had any effect whatsoever on what happened, but who knows. Anyway, so during that time, my brother and I started to reconnect a bit. I would come home from nursing school and do some of my homework, and Mark would come home from work, and we'd hang out, we'd chat, we'd watch movies like old days, you know, when we were younger. It was nice. We went on a canoe trip together, just he and I. That was a really good time. It wasn't something we'd ever really done before together. I've done plenty of camping and canoe trips, but he and I had never done something like that. And I actually have a really great memory. We did a short little portage, and at the far end, when we got near the lake, it was a bit muddy and boggy. So we actually had way too much gear, but we had it all in the canoe, and we started pushing, and Mark was at the front and I was at the back pushing, and he started walking through the muck, and it just kept going higher and higher and higher until it was up to his like mid-waist. And I was just like, Mark, get in. We gotta paddle our way through this. And so we did. We got through. But yeah, he was just covered. It was pretty funny. That next year, Mark got his job as the assistant coach for the Humboldt Broncos. I went up to Humboldt one day and we hung out. He showed me his office where he was working and took me to his place, checked that out, and showed me some like highlight packages of his players that he was so proud of those guys. We just had a really good day. I don't remember when it was that I last saw my brother in person. I do know it was either in February or March of 2018. He and Molly at my folks' place, they were leaving and I was in the living room just watching TV or a movie or something. I remember thinking, I'll hug him goodbye next time I see him. Of course, next time never came. The last time I texted him was roughly about 3 weeks before the crash. I think one of the last things I said was "Go Broncos, go!" They just started playoffs. I wish I had called or texted or gone to see him more. Essentially, that's the point of this video. Be careful how you choose to spend your time, because as the quote said at the very beginning of this video, time is the stuff that when you spend it, you don't get it back. So just be really careful how you spend that time and who you spend that time with. I have so many regrets that I chose alcohol and time alone over spending time with my brother. I regret allowing us to grow apart as much as we did. I wish I called more. I wish I made more of an effort. So yeah, I guess just use my experience as a lesson. Make sure you tell people that you care about them and that you love them, and make an effort. Spend quality time with people you care about, because you just never know, really. You just never know how many days you got or that they have. So yeah, this video was pre-crash. Next week's video will be the 24 hours, the day of the crash. And the week after that might be a two-parter of post-crash. So you'll have to stay tuned and come on back next week and the week after. I'll be telling my story, and I'm hoping that doing so will help me get it all out, and I'll be able to start moving forward with my life. So thank you for watching, and tell the people you care about that you love them, and live like somebody left the gate open.